Hey guys, welcome back to Adapted Adventures. On this week's episode, I'll be giving you my review and insights on wheelchair accessibility at Walt Disney World's Hollywood Studios. Hey guys, just real quick before the video, I just want to let you know I'm not a Disney employee. I'm not being paid or sponsored by Disney. So all my insights and advice that I give you today are based purely on my own experiences that I've had when at Disney. So if you have any specific questions about accessibility within the parks, please contact Disney directly. All right, so this is our fourth video in our series about me giving my insights and reviews for wheelchair accessibility at Walt Disney's 4 parks. So if you missed any of the first 3 videos, we've done Magic Kingdom, we've done Epcot and Animal Kingdom, and today is our 4th one about Hollywood Studios. So check out the links for those other 3 videos below, and make sure you hit the subscribe button too to catch all our videos coming up. So today, like I said, we're going to talk about Hollywood Studios. In my opinion, Hollywood Studios is probably out of the 4 parks, probably the flattest one. There's one spot that I can think of that's kind of tricky that we'll actually talk about when we talk about my very first ride, because that is, I think, probably one of the only parts of the park that's not flat. So besides that, it's smooth, regular concrete or asphalt. I don't know of any don't remember any cobblestone there or anything like that. Obviously there's a couple ramps here and there, but not anything like hill terrain wise, except for that talks about, we're going to talk about my first ride, and that's Twilight Zone, the Tower of Terror. So like getting up to the Tower of Terror, the hotel, there is a hill there that's actually pretty steep. And if the queue is long and you have to sit there at all, you do kind of have to hold yourself in place. But once it's moving, you can get up there pretty easily. Or if you're using your Dash Pass and you're just booking past people anyways. I think there was maybe one time where Andrea gave me a little bit of a push, but it is steep, but it's not horrible, and like comparatively the rest of the park, super flat. But anyways, back to talk about Twilight Tower of Terror. This specific ride is a must transfer, so you can't stay in your chair. And admittedly, it's a little bit of a difficult transfer because the way the ride is arranged, you, like, I don't know if you know anything about Tower of Terror, but it's an elevator-based ride. So you push straight, you come into the loading area, and right in front of you is a tiered seating area. So there's like first row, and then you could go up a step, and there's a second row, and then a third one. So obviously you sit in as a wheelchair user, if you're getting on the ride, you would get into the first row, and the rows are split down the middle. So like able bodies will walk up those stairs, and then at the very front there's like a row where you hang on, but that's split in the middle too, and that's where you enter. So the only way to get into your seat is you kind of have to push up to that space and then grab the handlebar here and kind of pull yourself up into that first row. So it's a little bit of a difficult, like I can't push with my legs at all, but I do have to kind of brace myself with my legs to kind of pivot onto that bench. So it's not the easiest transfer in the world. And also this one is a different one where you don't load and unload in the same spot. So once you're loaded in, they take your chair away or your mobility device, and then when you unload, they have it for you. And this Tower of Terror has always been really good. I've never had an issue there where I was waiting for my chair. I don't know if that's just because it's a longer ride and takes them, or it takes you more time than they take to get the chair over there, but never had an issue with my chair not being there ready for me when I was done with the ride. So, but that's kind of Twilight Zone Tower of Terror. Fun ride, I really like it. Andrea's not a big fan of it, so she's never ridden it with me, I don't think. But again, just be prepared for that it's not the easiest transfer in the world. Next, we'll talk about Rock and Roller Coaster. So this is one of the, well, I guess not one of only 2 roller coasters in the park. Again, you do have to transfer. They do have a swing away door for you. However, it is a little bit of a lower roller coaster. So I think there was one time I rode it where I did actually, kind of like I was telling you guys about when I transfer for the Kali River Rapids, I get on the ground first. It just makes it a little bit easier because this one does have the swing away, but it is a decent drop down in. This one It's a really fun. I like the roller coaster. It's the fastest roller coaster in Walt Disney World. And you get on and off at the same spot, so that's nice. Your chair's there, they pull it away. And the way they bring you in for this one, you exit it, like, again, I was talking about in an earlier video where, like, all the able-bodied people, they load from one side and then they unload to the other side when they're done. So you come in the exit, and so you unload and load on the same side, so that makes it easier for you too. These guys have always been, when I went there, really nice, and sometimes you have to wait for the train that has the little flip away door to come around, but they just have you wait in a little area, and they're super nice about getting you accommodated and everything you need. So that's Rock and Roller Coaster. The other roller coaster that I've ridden at Hollywood Studios is Slinky Dog Dash. Again, it's a must transfer. They do have the swing away door to transfer, and it's the very last car in the train. And then you do get on and off at the same spot. That one's a pretty easy one from what I can remember with Slinky Dog Dash. And it's a fun roller coaster too. It's not overly crazy, but it's not boring by any means either. So we do like to ride that one. And again, because it's an easier transfer too, that makes things nice. So that's Slinky Dog Dash. Next is kind of like the new token one at Hollywood Studios, the Star Wars Rise of the Resistance. So this is a kind of an all-inclusive experience. So there is a part of it where you do stay in your chair, and you, like, the able bodies are walking, you're pushing as you experience the whole ride.
Initiate reflight sequence on deck 3 for Picard.
Did you get it?
Stay away from the doors and hold on to the handrails. Alright, just one last time. Make sure you stay away from the doors. Hold on to the handrails and stay with your face mask on.
Check the hyperdrive also.
That's going to take off like 20 seconds.
And then there's a part where you do get into a ride vehicle, so to speak. It does have a swing away door. It's actually this one from you sitting on the, not on the ground, but like you being in your chair on the ground into the ride vehicle is actually probably up a little bit. So that's kind of a difference for most of these rides. You're either like level or you're going down and in. This one's up just a little bit. And it's not bad, it's not horrible, but with that swing away door, it makes things a lot easier. And then you will not load and unload in the same spot. But again, this is another one. They've been really great about making sure my chair is there and ready for me when the ride is over. I think there was one time where I waited maybe 30 seconds to a minute just as they were getting my chair. Like, it was on its way and they knew it was on its way. They just hadn't quite gotten it there by the time we got off the ride. So that one's a really fun one, and I liked it that even though there's parts of it that you are going through with your chair, you're included. There's nothing there you can't accomplish, or they're not bringing you down some back hallway that's not part of the ride, so you get kind of pulled out of the experience or anything like that. You're with your group the whole entire time, so that was really cool. Next, then, we'll talk about Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railroad. There is no board or swing door for this one, and you do have to transfer. So it makes it a little bit of a difficult transfer, but not as hard as some of the other ones, because it is a relatively big gap to get into the ride, and it's a bench seat. Again, very similar to the Remy's Ratatouille Adventure, but there's no option to ride in your chair for the Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railroad. But like the transfer is probably, like, if you're going to transfer, it's probably a little bit easier than Remy's because the space to get in is a little bit bigger. Like I said, or I don't know if I mentioned, on and off at the same spot, so your chair is waiting for you there. Next on the list is Star Tours. So Star Tours is another one of the rides where you don't physically go anywhere. You go into the ride area or whatever, and you transfer into a chair. It's really, like, if you can transfer into like a regular chair, you can transfer into this one. It's really simple, really easy. Chair in, transfer onto the seat, buckle in, chair out, ride the ride. They bring the chair back. You exit out the other side of the ride. It's super simple. It's a fun ride. It's different every time, and it's a good one for you. Like, again, it's a really easy transfer if you can get in and out of a chair, like out of your chair into a regular chair. That's basically what you'd be doing for this one. So that's Star Tours. Then the next one is Millennium Falcon Smuggler's Run. Again, another must transfer, but a relatively easy transfer. So for this one, we're like, for Star Tours, you're in the first row. It's tiered seating again on Star Tours, and you roll in on the first row, and then you get into one of the first seats there. And they're just regular, like, they look like regular, like, stadium seating, I guess, kind of. For Smuggler's Run, there's three seats and 3 seats on each side, or 2. No, there's 3 and 3. And then there's a row down the middle. So depending on if, pilots sit in the first row, engineers, and then gunners in the back. So depending on which one you want to do, you'd have access to all 3 of them, no matter what, on both sides, because that aisle is big enough for your chair to go down. And then you just transfer into whatever seat you want, which again is going to just be like a stadium seat kind of thing. And then they pull your chair out of the ride area, and then you're back to the same physical area when the ride's over. So they just bring your chair back on. So easy transfer on and off. And then you feel secure in the chairs. There's a lap belt, but like if you've flown to Disney from somewhere outside the state, then you can do Smuggler's Run. So like I said, the cast member takes your chair away, but they bring it right back. You're in the same spot physically. So that's Millennium Falcon Smuggler's Run. And the last one we're going to talk about today is Store Mania. So this is like the arcade one that you sit in, like a little kind of tilt-a-whirl spinny thing, and then you have a little gun thing in front of you, and you can shoot the targets as you go through the ride. So this one I think is really cool. There's a couple different ways you ride. You can either stay in your chair, and they bring up a certain, like, trolley, whatever you want to call it, that you roll into, and they lock your chair down, and then the little gun comes up to it like folds back and it's right in front of you. Or you can transfer if you'd like. Admittedly, it's kind of a hard transfer. It's a skinny door to get into. There's no fold away, but sometimes I do it because, like, one advantage for me is that if you do transfer, then you can sit next to your companion. Whereas if you do the roll in, your companion's on the same trolley or ride whatever of you, but they're behind you, like behind kind of like a wall that comes up like this. So sometimes I do it just because it's nice to have someone sit next to you. The other cool thing is if you're a quadriplegic or have like not as much motor skills with your hands, they have 2 different ways you can shoot the little gun. So like most of them are like a string with a ball on the end, and you have to kind of grab onto the ball and you pull it like this to shoot the gun. But if you'd have issues with that or struggle with that, they do have another one which is on the cart that you can roll your chair into as well. That's just a button, so you just have to tap the button like that. So that's really cool and nice to have as a second option for people who might not be able to hang on to that ball to pull on the string. So those are the main ones at Hollywood Studios. They're all really fun rides, and there's quite a few pretty easy transfers at Hollywood Studios if we kind of compare it to some of the other parks. But I hope you found this video and all of the other ones really helpful. If you guys have any questions about any of the parks or my experience at any of the parks, make sure you drop that question down in the comments. We'll get back to you. And subscribe to the videos, and we'll see you on the next one.